Well, it's not a very happy day whenever a president comes into this kind of trouble. This is the only the second former president to be arrested. The first was Ulysses S. Grant for speeding in his horse-drawn carriage, for which I think he paid a small fine. Uh, Look, the partisanship that accompanies this tells you something about the splits inside America, and I think people should try and understand two things can be true at the same time. The prosecutor here can be motivated by partisan thoughts, and Trump can be guilty of the charges. So we'll see how it turns out. Obviously, this is the beginning, not the end. And I think it's the end that's going to make a difference. Is he acquitted or is he convicted?
I mean, many have felt that just the sheer amount of attention that Donald Trump will command over the coming days and weeks means that he will effectively be handed the nomination for the Republican Party to run for president again. Do you think that's true?
That's certainly not true. I mean, there are a number of polls out there, for example, that show 60% of the population as a whole think the indictment is justified. It's different among Republicans, of course. I think what you're seeing in these polls is a rallying around because they think that this district attorney is prejudiced against Trump, and there's reason to think that. You know, we elect most prosecutors in the United States, and this district attorney ran on a platform to get Donald Trump. So now he's found an indictment. As I say, though, it may well be the indictment will turn out to be provable beyond a reasonable doubt, and Trump will be convicted. But it's the outcome here that matters more than anything else, I think.
And if the president is convicted, what do you think that does to his chances of getting the nomination?
Well, I think that among Republicans would have a significant negative effect. I'm worried that if it turns out that the prosecutor here is motivated by partisan concerns and Trump is acquitted, or the charges are dismissed for being legally insufficient or for whatever other reason, that's rocket fuel to the Trump campaign. He can say, see, I told you the left was out to get me. They just persecute poor old Donald Trump because they can't get to you. And that'll give him the nomination. What I'm urging Republicans to do is to say, however much you're concerned for Donald Trump as an individual being singled out unfairly, that doesn't translate. The cure for that is not to make him the Republican nominee for president.
And yet, even some of his rivals like Ron DeSantis are kind of coming out to back him. I mean, who do you think could stop Donald Trump from getting the nomination? I mean, are you still considering possibly running to stop him?
Well, I hope somebody can. And I don't think it's politically wise for those who are seeking the nomination to try and defend Trump here. Again, it's one thing to criticize the prosecutor for being biased. It's another thing to, in effect, defend Trump. And I think one thing that's very important about the way these various comments by Republican leaders have gone in the past couple of days, nobody has said, to my knowledge anyway, no Republican leader has said, look, this case involving a hush money payment to a porn star to cover up an affair and then cooking his company's books to confirm that. Nobody has stood up and said, "Well, that's not the Donald Trump I know." So I think the likelihood that all of these things occurred, as we've been reading about in the papers, is pretty high. The question whether that amounts to a criminal offense is something very different.
And what about yourself? Would you consider throwing your hat in the ring?
Well, I am considering it. I have been considering it, and I just think it's. I'm not arguing this as a matter of high morality. I'm arguing it as a matter of cold politics. It will not benefit the Republican Party to defend Donald Trump. Let him see what he can do on his own here. Look, if he is the victim of prosecutorial misconduct, if in fact he could show this case amounts to what in this country at least we call malicious prosecution, then he's got plenty of opportunities to do it in pretrial motions, maybe at trial, on appeal. Maybe he can file a separate civil action. Maybe he can file a grievance procedure with the Bar Association of the state of New York against the prosecutor. If he can show that he's being treated unfairly, he's got an opportunity to do it. Let's see what he comes up with.